is going on, Washington football team fans? This is another video coming from you from the Washington Football Report. This is JD. Before I dive into this, I want everyone to please hit the subscribe button. About 40% of the people who watch this are subscribed, 6% are not. So if you're one of those 6%, hit the subscribe button, hit notification bell, get videos like this all the time, and also comment down below anything. It helps the algorithm. Anyone who searches for a Washington football team, it helps come up in their searches, okay? And then my videos will show up in their searches as well with more comments and more likes. It helps the it's a weird algorithm, but it's an algorithm nonetheless. So it needs those things that actually like help push your videos forward. So if you could do that for me, I'd really appreciate that. So Washington football team had a preseason game. I am very late in recording this. I've tried to record this video like probably 4 times, and every time there's someone calls because I'm busy or I'm driving while I'm doing it, whatever the case may be. So hopefully we can knock this one out and we don't have to worry about anyone calling, texting, whatever. So we played the Patriots. Initial thoughts on the game. I thought we looked pretty decent. First half, we don't miss 2 field goals. We win the first half 13-6. Pretty dominant. We had Fitzpatrick, Taylor Heineke, both of them did pretty well, and I even think Steven Montez actually looked pretty decent as well. So let's go over that position by position. Quarterback Fitzpatrick. I think Fitzpatrick he did pretty well. He did well. 5 of 8. He only had 2 possessions. He would have had he would have been 6 of 8 with an extra first down conversion if Humphreys wouldn't have slipped. But yeah, 58 total yards passing. He had a long one, pretty decent one to Terry. He actually had, on that pass to Terry, if you watch the game, he actually had Cam Sims almost about to go over the safeties. He would have had a deep one at Cam Sims. I don't remember the pressure he was feeling at that point. Maybe he had to get rid of it before that part of the play developed. But nonetheless, he still found Terry on a pretty good route there. And overall, looked good. Looked better than any quarterback we've had in the last few years. And if you look at it, if you look at the yards yards per throw or per completion, it's very high yards per completion. Actually, I think that's actually not yards per completion. That's actually yards per attempt. So his yards per attempts are very high compared to what all the other quarterbacks are, and compared to what it was last year. So if you look at, for example, what Alex Smith had last year, Alex Smith checked down a lot. Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to push the ball. He's not going to check it down every time. It's not in his makeup. It's not who he is. He probably will check it down when needed, but he will not check it down every time. So that's what we're adding to the offense is the push it downfield possibilities and things like that. That is part of the offense now. It's a big part of the offense now, and yeah, we just gotta make sure that receivers can catch the ball and get open. He'll push it down the field to them. That's the big benefit to Adam Fitzpatrick. He's not afraid to take those chances. Now moving on to Taylor Heineke. I actually think Taylor Heineke did pretty well. Taylor Heineke, 9 of 15, 86 passing yards, and he got a touchdown that was dropped, but he got a series where there was a touchdown as well. If Ricky Seals-Jones would just catch a damn ball, we had a touchdown, but also there was a pass interference on that. But Taylor Heineke showed that he can move around and kind of be a gamer and make things happen with his feet, and he did that. He did pretty well with that, and I'm curious to see how he does against the Bengals. But overall, he had some overthrows. He had one to De'Ami Brown, and it was maybe about a yard too far. But if De'Ami Brown had a step, and the important thing here, and I'm not going to say this is super important because last year I made this point about Dwayne Haskins that whenever he would make a overthrow, you know what? He's seeing the field at least. You just got to get his form down. I'm not going to make a huge deal about that. This was an overthrow to a spot, not like the ball wasn't sailing. It wasn't like that. It's not like that. Like this was to a spot. He just happened to throw it a yard ahead of him, landing a yard in front of him. Haskins would overthrow and sail it, and then safeties would just get picks left and right. So that's how it happened with Haskins. So I'm encouraged because he's seeing the field right, he's seeing the play right. So I'm very happy with how Taylor Heineke ended up playing. Steven Montez. Actually, I don't think Steven Montez played too bad. His first couple series was not very good because he was getting his. He never played an NFL game. He never played any NFL games. This is his first ever NFL live action. Even if it was preseason, still an NFL sanctioned game. And his first ever game, he went 17-24, 108 yards, 4.8 yards per attempt. He dinked and dunked a lot. He does not drive the ball down the field very much, but he did get a touchdown. He had one tip for an interception. And yeah, but all of them did pretty decent. I'm not going to sit here and pick any of them apart. They all did pretty decent. And I'm encouraged by Ryan Fitzpatrick. Actually encouraged by Heineke as well. I think he has a solid backup right now until he gets a couple other things down pat. He's just never been consistently on a roster to have a lot of consistent work with understanding like what he needs to do throughout the course of like a off season, game to game, week to week, so on and so forth. Running backs. Let's go to running backs. Jared Patterson stole the show to me. Jared Patterson, 10 of 10 rushes for 40 yards. He also had a lot of catches. He actually had 4 receptions for 30 yards too. 10 receptions for 40, 4 receptions for 30. 70 total yards of offense. Should have had a touchdown. For some reason they gave the ball to Peyton Barber. You should have let Jared Patterson push it in. I think actually, if I'm being honest, I don't think Peyton Barber's making this team. Or if he does, he's going to be the 4th running back. Jared Patterson, for what all the reports are, they actually have him returning punts now. Because if he can return punts, and he could be that 3rd or 4th running back, they're not going to need to have DeAndre Carter. So they're trying to find a way to get him on the roster and not have other players at other positions that are not going to be extremely necessary right now. So they're trying to find a way to get him on the roster. He's returning punts now. You got to get him on the field, get him some good reps. And I think Peyton Barber's not going to make this team, or he'll make it and he'll be the 4th running back and he'll never be active on game day unless someone's injured. Gibson, I think Gibson will punch those short yardage plays in because he's a big running. He's actually a pretty big size running back. And Lamar Miller was already cut, so I don't have to talk about him. Jay Williams, I think John Williams, actually wasn't bad. I don't think he did bad for like a 5th string running back. I just don't think he's gonna make this team. Like maybe practice squad. And then obviously J.J. McKissick, they don't not putting him out there doing much because they know what he can do. I think he was close to the record for Washington for the most catches by a running back in the season. He got like 80, and someone in our history got like 81 or 82. So running backs, Patterson impressed me. Gibson actually impressed me pretty well, but he also impressed me because he actually got some catches out of the backfield. He doesn't get a lot of those. He didn't get a lot of those last year. They wanted to focus solely on running the ball. I think this year they're going to focus more on just getting him the ball, period, no matter how they have to. I think that's what they're going to focus on. Moving on to receiving. Receivers. Obviously, Patterson led us in receiving. He did pretty well. I'm excited about him, the way he did. He had a big catch on like a 3rd and long near the goal line that converted and made it so he can had a chance to get a touchdown. Terry McLaurin, 2 catches, 25 yards. He only played 2 possessions. You're gonna have way more possessions than that. He's gonna get some 100-yard games easily, and he gets open. Same as Reyes at the tight end that we got from Chile, and he looked very solid. I honestly, he got one, and someone tried to tackle him, and that person got hurt. He's solid. He's still a little raw when it comes to the overall thing of football. You got to understand that was the first football game he has ever played. Ever played. Not like first pro game. Not like first time he's played against another team. First pro game ever. And the guy's blocking well. He's still catching the ball. He's still a little raw in the ball catching part. But he is a physical force of nature. It was a fun interview he had where they asked him what's the difference between football and basketball. He was like, in basketball, I had to suppress my aggression because you can foul out in the game. Like football, you don't foul out of nothing. I can be as aggressive as I want to, and I love that. So I like that about him. He's 6'7", 250, 240, 260, something like that. He's a big guy. Big guy. Buff guy, ripped. So I'm hoping he makes his team because I think as he develops, or here's what they're probably going to do. They're probably going to get him on the IR, injury reserve, and they're going to hold on to him for a year and not let him hit the waivers because someone will claim him. And then next year he'll have a whole off season to learn more about football, how it's played, rules, get some things better. But I actually think he might actually be our third best tight end at least. Based on the game I saw based on this game, he is right now our third best tight end. First best is obviously Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas is our best receiver. He might be one of our best weapons. Period. I mean, him, McLaurin, and Gibson are all like our Class A weapons right now. But you also have John Bates, who looks still pretty good. He blocked well, and then you have Samus Reyes. If you look at the other tight ends, you have who's the one? Ricky Seals-Jones dropped a touchdown pass. It wasn't blocking very well. I think he had 2 catches for 6 yards each, roughly. But then you have the other one who is the one that they were bragging about. What is his name? Terry Hemingway. And he hit the first sack we gave up. He was blocking a guy, and he basically was a non-factor. He was barely in the guy's way. So, and he also dropped the pass. So, I mean, if I look at the tight ends, I'm going to take the 3 best. The 3 best right now are Bates, because you just drafted him. You have to take him because you don't want to bail on him right away. It's wasting draft picks. Bates, Samus Reyes, and then Logan Thomas is your best. Not in that order. Sorry, Bates is probably number 2. Oh, man, I'm really tired as soon as I start doing videos. Get really tired. Receiving core, I mean, the ball shared a lot. There's a lot of people here got targets, got touches. So it's exciting to see that. Receiving core, I think the receiving core is going to come down to 5 locks, and then it just depends on what Washington needs, and that'll be the last roster spot to go 6, or they could go 7. Okay, obviously Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Yami Brown, Adam Humphries, and Cam Sims. Those are the 5 that I believe are locks to make this roster. I think Cam Sims, what he did last year, stepping up, I think it's given him a really big boost over a couple other people. Like if Kelvin Harmon would have played last year, I think he'd be on like Ron's good graces too. But the problem is, last year Kelvin Harmon would have been a great addition, or would have been a great like number 2 receiver in that mix. Dax Milne would have crushed being in this mix. The problem is, and AGG as well. Problem is, in the offseason we upgraded. We added 3 very good receivers to the receiver core, so it made the room pretty crowded, and you have to be good to be on this receiver. You can't just be a mediocre receiver and make our receiving core anymore. That's the problem right now. Not a problem. It's a good problem to have. But it's a problem for a couple of these players, like Harmon, who just already got cut. We added Curtis Samuel, Adam Humphries, and we added Yami Brown in the draft. Those are the 3 guys that we added that are going to play. They're going to play. We didn't sign Adam Humphries just because of nothing. He has great chemistry with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and it's shown in practice. Okay. Curtis Samuel was one of the top free agent pickups for the offense for a reason. He's fast. And then we drafted the guy that's fast too. So we have Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, and Yami Brown, all like 4.3 speed. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for all of those things. Washington wanted to get better and faster at the receiving core. And that was one of the biggest things. What is my email from? Okay. So Harmon, maybe even Steven Sims, a couple other players, it's gonna affect their ability to make this team. And we have a handful of receivers that are still on the roster that haven't been cut yet, that I don't think they're going to make. I don't think they're going to make it. Unless Ron wants to go 7 receivers and 3 running backs. Maybe he wants to do that. Maybe because he's got Curtis Samuel who can play running back if needed. He might do that. But I don't think that's going to be the case. He'll probably keep 4 running backs and 6 receivers like the norm is. And that's usually what teams do. But he can go that route if he wanted to. He could say, well, I only need 3 running backs, and I have 7 receivers, and one of my receivers used to be a running back, so I can play him if necessary, if I'm desperate for a game. So, yeah. So let's move on to the defense. Defense. I don't get too much into like individual performances. Defense, I will get into one individual performance. Defense looked pretty good. We held them to 6 points. Chase Young only played 2 possessions. In those 2 possessions, he got a strip sack. Then in another possession, got held. What would have been a very easy tackle for loss. Defense looked good. That's all I'm going to say. They held the offense of the Patriots to 6 points. In the second half, they gave up a touchdown. It came off a turnover. And they gave another touchdown, but that was because we anticipated them kneeling, and Bill Belichick ran a run play. So, it is what it is. Not a big deal. And what else? Yeah, I think our defense did very well. Defensive line, tough. Going to have a lot of problems. I think Matt Ioannidis will play this week. So I'll talk about this week's game here in a little bit. So Matt Ioannidis is back. Jamin Davis is the one I want to talk about. A lot of people mad because he didn't have a big tackle game or he didn't play well. Listen, it's his first pro game. It's preseason. He probably has other things in packages that he's going to be put in because of his athleticism. They were just running a lot of base defense. I hate it when people overreact to preseason. I really do. It's preseason. It doesn't mean anything. That's like people overreacting to Dustin Hopkins missing 3 field goals. Or 2 field goals. It happens. It's preseason. I'd rather miss them now than miss them during the season. Wouldn't you? I think that we all agree on that. So just don't overreact to preseason. I mean, I'm not jumping through the roof about how our quarterbacks played. They played okay against, a mediocre or vanilla defense. So, yeah, I'm not overly excited about anything from preseason. I do like watching guys that may never get a chance to play. That part about it does excite me, but I'm not gonna get excited. If this game was 50-0, I wouldn't be excited. It's preseason. Doesn't mean anything. It just means that maybe our bench is better than their bench, but you don't play your bench a lot in the NFL. You play your starters, and you have certain packages for skill players. So that's not important. The game coming up. We have a game Cincinnati this Friday. It's actually today is Wednesday. It's 7:49 a.m. It's 7:49 a.m. on a Wednesday. So, what are we looking for from Washington? Well, I want to see the Ryan Fitzpatrick play a whole quarter. What can you do in a quarter? I hope he gets at least a couple drives in the red zone. I'd like to see at least a touchdown out of him. Maybe 2. I don't know. Taylor Heineke. I'd like to see something similar. Drive the ball, move it downfield. I'd like to see the offensive line get a good surge. This is not a great Bengals team. They don't have a good defense. They have a horrible offense. So I honestly, for the sake of them, and for the sake of this player, I hope they do not play Joe Burrow. I really do. Our offensive line, or their offensive line, is garbage, and our defensive line is going to tear through that offensive line like a hot knife through butter. And Joe Burrow's good, and last year he did a great job of masking that and getting rid of the ball quick. But I just don't want him to see him get hurt. He's a good young player, and I think he could be a very good quarterback. I think he actually was on pace to be one of the best quarterbacks ever, and then he hurts him and gets hurt. So that's just me being the football fan. I don't want to see him get hurt. I do want to see our offensive line get after somebody, so I kind of hope it's their backup if we're going to get after somebody. And I also want to see our secondary step up, get some turnovers, force some turnovers. This is William Jackson III. This is his old team. I want to see him step up and maybe get a couple picks, get some good knockdowns, get something going on. But that's pretty much my video. Washington looked decent in the first game. The second game is in 2 days from now, so we'll find out what they are, whether they're good, bad, indifferent, whatever the case may be. So this is JD. This is Washington Football Report. Hail to the Redskins. See ya.